Hi everybody, I'm Lance Smith, and a few days ago I told everybody that I was going to upload a YouTube video that would scare the living shit out of the man or woman who is illegally blocking and tampering my Facebook. I did make that video and I tried to upload it. After it uploaded, YouTube sent me a message saying we are getting rid of this. We're not uploading this video because it's too threatening. What I have to tell YouTube and everybody right now is it wasn't threatening at all. There was no threat. It was me defending my country. The man or woman in control of illegally blocking and tampering my Facebook does not have the legal right to do this for even 1 second. So my YouTube video that I believe would have scared the living shit out of the man or woman who is illegally blocking and tampering with my Facebook, I believe it would have scared them so bad that at the end of the video they would have listened to me. It was an hour and a half long. At the end of the video, I explained to the man or woman blocking my shit that they have 3 options. 1, the smartest option, they can listen to me and do exactly what I say. And if they don't listen to me, there's 2 other options that are going to happen. And I don't have control of those other 2 options. But I believe the video would have scared them so damn bad that they just would have listened to me. It was a very, very, very scary ass video. So apparently YouTube didn't let that one go through. I really wish they did because I'm just defending my country. And if they didn't let it go through, then they should have sent an agent or a detective or a police officer to come talk to me rather than just not let it go through. Okay, so in this video, in the scary video, there was like 10 different subjects. In this video, I'm just gonna touch on like 3 of the subjects. The first subject was the word nigger. In the video, me talking about the word nigger got extremely scary. But I'm just gonna touch on it a little bit right now, kind of what I did in the video. The word nigger is a disgusting insult that everybody hates, okay? It's a disgusting insult that everybody dramatically hates. White or black people hate the insult a little bit worse than everybody, but everybody dramatically hates the insult nigger. White people hate it, black people hate it, Chinese people hate it, Mexican people hate it, French people hate it, Irish people hate it. Everyone hates the insult nigger, okay? So in the video, this got extremely scary and dark. Yeah, in the video, my speech, my talk on the word nigger got extremely dark and scary. So I'm not going to go near as dark and scary right now, but I'm going to go a little bit into it because I'm trying to get this video to upload. Okay, so the man or woman, okay, and again, I wanted to point out that the word nigger does not mean a black person at all. It is simply an insult that everybody dramatically hates, and black people hate it a little bit more than everybody else. So, yeah, in the video I explained that the man or woman who are illegally blocking and tampering with my Facebook right now, okay, they are a nigger. Okay, now this part of the video got dark and scary, but I'm not allowed to go into it because I'm trying to get this video to upload. But I will say this, okay? The man or woman who are illegally blocking and tampering with my Facebook, it appears that they have turned around and they have given a speech to Facebook and the American government that they have the legal right to tamper and block with my Facebook when they don't for 1 second. And I feel like everybody is proud of this man or woman right now, but in reality, you guys are proud of a man or a woman for being a nigger. Okay, you guys are proud of a nigger right now. Okay, the man or woman illegally blocking and tampering with my Facebook, they are nothing, okay, but a nigger. Okay, there was never a lawful right to do this to me, and the only reason the man or woman who is doing this to me right now, the only reason they're doing it is because they don't want to see me successful. Okay, there isn't one other reason. Okay, not one other reason. It's completely personal. It's not best for their country. It's not best for their company. They just don't want to see me successful. Okay, and even if it was best for their country, okay, and their company and their family, which it isn't, okay, even if it was, you still do not have that legal right to do that. I mean, you can give your fucking speech, okay, to your company, to Facebook, to the government, okay, and you can give your speech, okay. You still don't have that legal right, okay. No one ever fucking will, ever. So moving on. So in the video, I went dark and scary into the word nigger, and then I also went dark and scary into this subject. I brought up Adolf Hitler, okay? In the video, I said that the man or the woman illegally blocking and tampering my Facebook, okay, is a diaper, okay? I said everybody can call me Adolf Hitler, and why don't all the Nazi and Jewish people work together to get rid of the diaper, okay? So I said that in all of America, in all of Germany, in all countries throughout the planet, there is only one diaper, okay? And we need to take that diaper and put the diaper in the furnace, okay? Yeah, you know, so the one diaper, okay, is the man or the woman illegally blocking and tampering my Facebook. You're the one diaper, okay? We're trying to get rid of you. We want to take you and put you in a furnace, okay? That part of the video got very, very scary too. Again, I'm trying to make this video upload. Okay, I can't get too scary. I can't get too dark, or they won't upload it. Yeah, this video shouldn't have come into existence at all. This isn't a threat. Okay, I'm defending my country. Okay. Okay, let me see here. what was I going to go with next? Oh, yeah, this was something I wanted to touch on. So, again, okay, let me think here. Where was I going to go? Give me a sec. Okay, I know that the police and the FBI are two different companies. I don't know if the CIA or the FBI are two different companies. Okay, and I don't know what company SWAT works for. Okay, I don't know if SWAT works for the FBI or if SWAT works for the police, but I believe SWAT works for the police. Okay. So, this situation isn't funny, but what I do see funny in the matter right now is the man or woman in control of illegally blocking and tampering with my Facebook. Okay. They believe that they're in control of this situation when they're not. And I believe SWAT is laughing at them right now because I have dealt with SWAT in real life. Like, you're watching those TV, or you're watching a TV show or a movie, and then SWAT shows up. Okay, not the FBI, not the CIA, not the police. All of a sudden, SWAT shows up. Okay, I have dealt with SWAT in real life, so I'm kind of laughing in my mind. The man or woman in control of illegally blocking and tampering with my Facebook. Okay, they act like they're in control of the situation, but I believe SWAT, the company of SWAT, is laughing their asses off at them. I think, because I mean, the man or woman illegally blocking my blocking and tampering my Facebook, my mind's saying there's like 20 different outcomes, and there's no way for me to know which one is going on. And let me see here. What was I gonna say? Trying to think. I lost my train of thought there. It'll come back just a sec. Yeah, he thinks he's in control. I lost my train of thought. Just a sec. Okay, yeah. I have dealt with SWAT in real life. So, okay. Yeah, so I don't know. Okay. Yeah, this is, there it is. Okay, here it is. It came back to me. Okay. Now, the man or woman in control of illegally blocking and tampering with my Facebook is either an average human who is going on a power trip, okay, or B, a real high-class criminal, okay. Either way, SWAT needs to step in right now. They need to surround all of Facebook headquarters. They need to evacuate Facebook headquarters. And they need to arrest the man or woman who is illegally blocking and tampering with my Facebook. Either way, if it is an average human on a power trip, or B, a high-class criminal, okay? Either way, SWAT needs to arrest them and take them to jail, okay? I have dealt with SWAT in real life, and let me tell you guys what led up to that and how that happened, okay? Now the truth gets to come out to everybody. You guys ready? Okay. In 2011, I was 22 years old. In my hometown, Kennewick, Washington, which is part of Tri-Cities, Washington, I was a very loved local skater. I supported policy and law. I had never done one illegal drug. To this day, I have not done one illegal drug. So at age 22, I was a very loved local skater. I supported policy and law. I had a full-time job in a fancy restaurant, and I was saving up money to go back to college to get a 4-year business degree. I went to college for 2 years in high school before I graduated. While working as a waiter one night while sober, I had a common hallucination as a human while sober, and it scared the hell out of me. And I left my job without telling everybody, and I went and isolated myself because the hallucinations scared me. I simply needed my family's support. I simply needed, I needed help from my family. I needed help from my community. I needed help from my society because I am a human, and I had a hallucination while I was sober, and it scared me. I left my job, and I isolated myself. I tried to exert to my family what they could do for me, and I quit my job and asked for help, and my entire family started being very mean to me. Okay. 2 weeks later, I was slowly coming out of the hallucination. One night, I was skateboarding home. From the bar. I went to the bar with my older sister. I didn't feel like going to the bar, but I told my older sister I would go to the bar just to watch over her. I didn't have my wallet when we got to the bar. My sister said she wanted to stay. I said I'm gonna walk home. And I found one of my old skateboards in the back of her truck, and I started skateboarding home. It was the middle of the night on a Monday, about 12 o'clock at night. The streets, it was a busy street, but the street, it was a main street, but the street was empty because it was Monday at midnight. And I went to cross the street on the skateboard, and 2 cop cars came flying out, and they stopped me in the middle of the street. Okay. It's a big wide street, and I was crossing, and they stopped me in like the big median part, and they stopped, and I wasn't alarmed at all. I was thinking to myself, maybe it's actually illegal to cross the road on a skateboard like this. I was like, I didn't think it was. Wasn't alarmed at all. The cops stopped their cars, and I kicked my skateboard up, and they walked up to me and they said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just skateboarding home." And they're like, "Well, what are you doing out in the middle of the street?" And I told them, with all due respect, is it illegal to be skateboarding in the middle of the street? And the 2 cops looked at each other. They said, "That's it." And they ran up and they grabbed me. And they took me to their cop car, and they smashed me up against it, and they put me in handcuffs, and I still wasn't alarmed at all, okay? I'm thinking to myself, these cops are just doing their job. Maybe they think I'm doing drugs or something. I wasn't alarmed. I mean, I said smashed against the cop car. It was, you know, they pushed me up against the cop car. They didn't have to do it that hard, but again, maybe they thought I was doing drugs or something like that. So, anyways, I'm up against the cop car. I'm in handcuffs, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, they're just being police officers, making sure I'm not a criminal or something. And you know, I'm thinking to myself, maybe it is illegal to cross the skateboard or cross the street on a skateboard without using the crosswalk. I was like, I don't know. But anyways, so I'm on the cop car thing in my handcuffs, and I hear one of the cops giggling, and he is giggling, and I turn behind him, and the other cop, he's like 3 feet behind me, and he's making a humping motion. Okay, it was just a joke. Okay, the cop was just making a simple joke against me with his friend, but it scared the living shit out of me. So I'm in handcuffs. Okay. I actually stood up and turned around to the cop, and I shouted as loud as I could, "What in the fuck are you doing, dude?" You know, and he goes, they both looked at each other and they go like, "Ah, shit." And he goes, "Hey, Lance, I need you to sit on the crosswalk, or I need you to sit on the sidewalk." I was like, "No problem," you know. So I'm in handcuffs and I sit down, and I was like, "Man, you know, you two are fucking screwed." I was like, "I'm getting $1 million lawsuit, and you two are going to prison." They're like, "Lance, just sit there," okay? So I watched them for like 45 minutes filling out paperwork. And then they walked up to me and said, "Just get in the cop car," okay? And this really alarmed me because, you know, they didn't say, "You're under arrest for breaking this law. You know, you have these rights." They didn't tell me anything, okay? I just watched a cop air hump me from 3 feet behind, and now they want me to get into a cop car. At this point, I am scared shitless. Okay, I get into the cop car, and they took me to jail. I got put in a jail cell, and I didn't commit any crime. What scared the hell out of me was they didn't say, this is why you're being arrested and these are your rights. Okay. So they go and they take me to a jail cell. At this point, I don't even know if these are real cops. I'm like, am I dealing with criminals that are trying to rape me? So I tried to headbutt the steel door down with my head, and I gave myself a severe concussion. When the door opened up, I tried to fight my way out of jail, and I got to the main lobby. And I was surrounded by 8 guards who had tasers. And they all said, "Get on your knees." And I did. I said, "No problem." They said, "We just want you to relax." And I said, "No problem. I'm not going to do anything." Okay, you know. And he said, "You're on your knees. Put your arms out. Okay, I want you to rest your head and look at the ground." I said, "Okay," you know. And he said, "I want you to just relax." I said, "I'm relaxing." Okay. And then I felt a foot on my neck, and then like a 250-pound guard stomped my face, okay, into the concrete as hard as he could. There was a loud crack. My nose broke open, and blood started pouring out, and it was on the camera, okay. And then they put me in a jail cell, okay. So I headbutted a steel door, okay, and gave myself a severe concussion, and then a guard smashed my nose into the concrete, and I believe that was attempt of murder. Okay. After the cops played the dry hump joke on me, I knew that was at least $1 million lawsuit. I've heard McDonald's employee once accidentally spilt some coffee on someone and they got $1 million. I was like, yeah, that's $1 million that's $1 million in my pocket, very, very easy. So it didn't dawn on me until later in life that guard that stomped my face in, okay, because it's all on video, okay, everyone's surrounding me, okay, you watch him, you know, okay, put your arms out, put your arm things down, and he tells me to relax. And then you watch him put his foot on my neck and then stomp me in. Okay, that may have been a true attempt of murder, and that might have been like a $400 million lawsuit or something. Okay, Anyways, so I bet you guys are starting to realize the realistic situation that I was in. Um, Again, at age 22, I was just a loved skater that supported policy and law and was saving to go up to college. And then I get dry humped by a cop. And again, the scary part is they didn't say, this is your charge, these are your rights, and they put me in the cop car. Okay, so I believe these two cops understood the trouble that they were actually in. Okay, and I'm an empathetic person. Okay, those two cops may not have even been criminals. They just might have been trying to play an innocent joke when they realized that's not a funny joke. But after they played the joke, they said, shit, we have to cover it up. Okay, look, they probably even told each other, if he goes to court, we're gonna owe him like $1 million. Okay, so when they take me to jail, those two cops are already working together saying, holy shit, we owe that kid $1 million. So, and I don't know who they are connected to. Okay, Lance makes $30,000 a year. Okay, as a waiter. Okay, and now we owe him $1 million because we played a stupid joke on him. So, I don't know what they did after they put me in jail, but they were probably a little bit intimidated with where this situation is going to go. So anyways, I did headbutt the door to try to escape, and I gave myself a concussion. I tried to fight my way out of jail, and then on video, a very large guard gave me attempted murder, and they put me in a jail cell. Okay. In the morning, I got bailed out, and my parents came to give me a ride, and I told them I just want to walk home. And when I was walking home, a police officer pulled up next to me and said, you have to get in the cop car. And I said, I just got bailed out of jail. What are you talking about? And he said, just get in the cop car. And he put me in the cop car, and they took me to the hospital. And I was like, cool, the hospital, this is what I need. My head hurts like hell. And I'm put in a hospital bed, and they said, Lance, we're going to give you a CAT scan. I'm thinking to myself, well, cool, this is going to explain to the medical doctor what's wrong with me. Okay. And they gave me a CAT scan, and then the nurse came in and said, there's nothing wrong with, you have no injuries from a concussion. Okay. And I'm sitting there like, huh? Well, they said the CAT scan came up that you're A-okay, okay, and my nose is actually broken, okay, like it's still bleeding, okay, and they're telling me the CAT scan says nothing, okay. So a doctor comes in and he tells me, hi, I'm a psychiatric doctor, and I thought psychiatric doctor meant medical, and he goes, I need you to take this pill for me, and I thought it was a pain pill, and I took it and it did nothing for me. And it was a bipolar medication. But anyways, the psychiatric doctor said, we want to get you help, so we're going to send you to a rehab. I thought to myself, perfect, rehab is what I need. Send me to a rehab, and I can talk to a detective or a cop, and I can get a better pain med, because whatever you gave me isn't doing anything. So the next day, they stuck me in an ambulance, and they drove me to a mental hospital. And, I got released into the mental hospital, and I walk into the room. I'm like, where am I? And they're like, this is a mental hospital. I'm like, a mental hospital? Do mental hospitals exist? I'm not mental. Okay. And they said, we need you to come into this room. So I sat down with a psychiatrist and like 10 of his employees, and they said, explain to us how you got here. And I told him how I got arrested, how I headbutted the wall, how I broke my nose, how I tried to walk home, how I was taken to the hospital, and how I was taken here. Okay. When I was done talking, the psychiatrist said, hey, Lance, none of that happened, okay? You're actually delusional, you're manic, you're bipolar, okay? And you have to take medication before you leave, okay? So my nose is broken, okay? So I believe it was all one butterfly effect, okay? So the idea was Lance is just an average 22-year-old man. He's just an average, innocent 22-year-old man. We played an illegal joke on him. We accidentally played an illegal joke on him. Okay. And now we owe this average man who makes $30,000 a year, we owe him $1 million. Okay. Now we've got him in a jail cell. Okay. So those two cops had to report to somebody. Do you guys see what I'm saying? They probably had a deputy that they report to saying, hey, deputy, we played a dumb joke on Lance, and he caught us doing it. What should we do? Okay. You know, and the deputy's probably going to say, you know what? I have a judge that I can call. Okay. And the next thing you know, what happens next? Okay. The guard smashed his nose into it now. Okay. And now we owe him $400 million rather than $1 million. Here, I'll contact the judge. So they probably go, hey, judge, if he goes to trial, we're going to owe him like $400 million. Okay, the judge goes, I got to do something. I have an idea. You know what? Call up this doctor, okay? Hey, doctor, we'll give you $50,000 if you write an incorrect medical report on Lance and send him to a mental hospital, okay? Oh yeah, he's got a severe concussion, my friend. It's not a concussion, he's got a severe concussion. Don't tell anybody he's got a severe concussion, send him to the mental hospital, and we'll contact the psychiatrist and tell him the same bullshit, okay? So it was a butterfly effect. By the time I got out of the mental hospital, okay, my lawsuit was probably already like $500 million from the quick, it just happened in seconds. Okay, so, you know, again, there's criminals in all companies, retail, mechanics, doctor's offices, cops. The criminal cops are the scariest ones. Most of the world is good, and we all have to deal with criminals. But what's stupid about my matter is I really don't think the cop that was dry humping me was a criminal. It was just he decided to play a simple joke that he thought he was going to get away with his friend, but I caught him doing it. As soon as I caught him, they went, oh shit, we owe him $1 million. He's right, and he might get us into jail for a week or two, you know. And they had to branch off that. You know, they could have said, "Hey, sorry, Lance." Yeah, they could have said, "Sorry, Lance, that was wrong." Okay, can we put this behind us? You know, they could have. They could have released me and said, you know, you're free to go. But they went with, shit, let's make a false report on him and put him in jail. Okay, so they do that, and they're like, well, shit, now what do we do, you know? And the charge that they gave me was disorderly conduct, you know, and I gave them no disorderly conduct at all. Okay, so I believe it was a butterfly effect, and yeah, I don't know how I got stuck with the criminal judge, but it did happen. So let me see here. So Yeah, so after, yeah, the CAT scan, the nurse told me the CAT scan came back that you're fine. Okay, someone paid the nurse to say that bullshit. My nose was broken. Okay, and the CAT scan probably showed that he has a cracked skull and a blown brain vessel. Okay, that's probably what the CAT scan actually showed. Um, and it everything's in the computer system. So if somebody wanted to go look it up, I wouldn't even be bringing this up if it wasn't in the computer system. If someone wanted to go look up everything, it's all in the computer system. So anyways, after I got stuck with the criminal judge who's paying people to make false medical records on me just so I can't lawsuit in court. After that, I spent 14 years dealing with a criminal judge who is telling my city, my community, my society that Lance is a mental, violent man. Yeah, he's a mental, violent criminal, and I wasn't mental. I was injured. I was suffering from a hallucination. And then I was suffering from a severe concussion. And that concussion, you guys, it didn't heal for 2 years. It was like being in a painful coma. So yeah, I was in the hospital, and the doctor who read the CAT scan told the nurse, tell him that there's nothing wrong with them. So someone must have paid off that doctor. Because the idea was, we owe him $400 million, so offer, the doctor $500,000 to write a. Okay, I don't want to give Lance a skater who works in a restaurant and makes $30,000 a year. I'm not going to give this kid $400 million. Okay, okay. Yeah, so for the next 14 years, I was trying to get a criminal judge arrested, and it's really, really stupid. At age 22, I had a really beautiful, cool girlfriend named Jen, and after I got screwed over by the cops, my family turned around and told her Lance is doing illegal drugs. Okay, so she even got a restraining order on me saying my Lance does illegal drugs, and I don't even know who he is. That's what the restraining order said. So my family, the criminal judge, the criminals that work with them, they tell Jen he's doing illegal drugs. You don't want to talk to him. Okay, so I haven't done one illegal drug in my life. So for 14 years, everybody listened to a criminal judge about Lance is a mental, violent criminal, and I'm the opposite of that. So, so what led to the SWAT? Right now, I still have them right now. My disability check that I collect, yeah, that was something else that I had to go through in the mental hospital. I forgot to mention at age 22, so I was a love skater, a restaurant waiter saving up to go back to college to get a business degree. And I had a hand injury that I didn't know about that was causing all my problems in life. Because of my hand injury, I have this pain and this sickness in my body that I don't know about. And that's causing all my problems in life. It's hard for me to sleep. It's hard for me to concentrate. It's hard for me to have fun. I still do my job, but I always feel sick. And it was this simple hand injury that I had. But anyways, while in the mental hospital, I had to accept that I had an extremely criminal, abusive father. My hand injury happened at age 12. I was extremely abused from ages 3 to 12. By age 12, I know my own mind. At age 12, I would have just walked out of my dad's house and then walked to a police station and said, hey, my dad's abusive. Do you guys have somewhere else for me to stay? And I would have never talked to him ever again. That's about it in a nutshell. But I got a hand injury that made me put my body in sick and pain. And I wasn't able to stand up for myself. I wasn't able to progress in life. Again, it was hard for me to sleep. It was hard for me to work, hard for me to study, hard for me to have fun. My life consisted of, how do I get rid of this pain and the sickness that I'm feeling? I don't know what it comes from. I guess all humans feel it. But anyways, so we're trying to lead up to the SWAT. Okay, so I got, after my concussion and the diagnosis from the criminal psychiatrist, my dad filled out my abusive dad filled out some paperwork and said, hey, Lance, if you sign this right here, then the state will start giving you money for being mental. And I told him, I'm not mental at all. I'm not signing that. I don't need mental money. And I left. And then he forged my signature, and my abusive dad became my disability money collector. And then the criminal court judge took that disability and he transferred it to a new payee. The payee didn't even live in my city. He lives 3 hours away from me. And without my consent, the judge went ahead and made him my legal guardian too. And David is an all-out criminal that works with the judge. And I've called the cops on Dave like 10 times, and I haven't given the cops enough evidence to arrest him yet. Okay, I've learned that cops won't do it. Cops will respond to you if you call them, but cops won't do anything for you until you give them enough evidence. If you give them enough evidence, they go get it done within 2 seconds. You just have to give them enough evidence. So I called him like 10 times on David Keene, and there just wasn't enough evidence on the situation. So, 13 years later, I finally had enough evidence on David Keene, and I called the cops and I said, hey, my payee has stolen $700 from me. And they're like, no, he hasn't, Lance. And they hung up on me. And I called him again. Okay. Hey guys, they have stolen $700 from me. Will you send a cop to my apartment so I can show him the evidence? And they're like, no, it hasn't. Okay. And I called him 2 other times. I said, Lance, stop, and I after 4 phone calls, I said, never mind, forget it. I'll try to figure out something else. So I'm in my apartment, sitting on my couch, and I see a cop car show up, and I'm actually excited. I look through my window. I'm like, hey, he's coming to check out my evidence. And the cop sees me through the window, and he holds up a piece of paper, and he goes, hey, Lance, this is a warrant out for your arrest for calling the cops when you didn't need to. I mean, it's been 13 years now, and I haven't broken any laws, and I've done nothing but call the cops, on a criminal judge and criminal doctors, and there hasn't been one detective or FBI agent that hasn't investigated me yet. Yeah, so he goes, yeah, this is your warrant for your arrest for calling the cops. And I went and locked the door, and I said, I need you to go get me the city mayor. And he goes, Lance, we're not worried about you. When you want to come outside your house, go check yourself into jail, or we will arrest you when we find you. Okay. And they left. So, I mean, for 14 years, I would go to jail, and I would come to court, And I would ask for a speedy trial, and the criminal judge would say, Lance is mental. He's not capable of going to a speedy trial. And they send me to the mental hospital. The evaluator sends a thing to the judge saying Lance is capable of going to trial. And the judge says, no, he's not. Okay. Drop his charge and release him back to society on DOC, even though he hasn't been convicted of a crime. So, anyway, so I get released from jail, doing like 12 months, and then the cop says, now you're under arrest for calling 911. Okay, so the idea is if I go to court, I'm dealing with the criminal judge again. Hey, I would like a speedy trial. I plead innocent to calling the cops when I didn't not need to, okay? The judge is going to say, no, you're not able to go to trial. Send him back to the mental hospital. Make him sit there for 12 months, drop his charge, and release him again. Okay. So after the cops said you're under arrest for calling the cops, okay, I called 911 and said, hey, you know what? Can you guys send the mayor to my house? You guys are telling me that I'm under arrest for calling the cops. I need him to get rid of this warrant. They're like, Lance, shut up, and I called him back again. I said, could you guys send the mayor to me, okay? Right now, I want to blow up every police headquarters there is in my city. Can you send the mayor to my house to squash my warrant? I don't want to go to the mental hospital for 12 months, okay, for calling 911. They say shut up, and I made like 20 phone calls. By the end of it, I'm screaming and crying bloody murder into the phone call saying, send me the goddamn mayor, okay? And eventually the mayor called me. He goes, hi, I'm the mayor. What can I do for you? Or, I told him what had happened. He said, Lance, there's a police station by your apartment. I want you to walk to the police station right now. Go to the behind it and go to and come to this door. I said, I have no problem doing that. And I told him, I tell you what, I had a rough day. I want to shave and get a good night's sleep, and I'll meet you in the morning. And he said, I want you to come in right now. And I said, look, I'm a victim of a bunch of crimes. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff for 13 years. Okay. Let me get a good night's sleep and I'll meet you in the morning. What time do you want me to meet you? And he said 10 a.m. I said, great, And I thought to myself, finally, I have reached the city mayor. I'm going to take down these criminals that have been torturing me. And then, I was excited. And then my window shattered and a bunch of glass got rammed into my back. And I look out the window and there's a big SWAT van. And someone had shot a powerful beanbag through my window. And they threw a handful of stun grenades at me. I dropped to my stomach and I thought... I dropped to my stomach and I thought to myself, shit, are these criminal cops trying to kill me? How do I get out of this? Okay. The cops are trying to kill me. Okay. I'm a good, innocent man and the cops are trying to kill me. What do you do to get out of this situation? And I thought to myself, Batman never kills the Joker, and I had a little bit of clown paint in my kitchen, so I army crawled to my kitchen and I put Joker paint on as fast as I could. And another beanbag came flying through, so I hit the deck again in my room. And I had my phone on me, and the lead SWAT guy called me, said, I need you to come out. And I said, I'm not coming out there. I said, I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call the mayor. I'm going to call Disney World. I'm going to call Jessica Alba. Okay. I'm going to call the fucking butcher. Okay. I need some fucking help. Okay. I'm not a bad guy. Okay. I told him, go get the goddamn mayor. This is stupid. Okay. So I called my cops. I called Disney World. I called Disneyland. I called cops in Florida. I tried to contact Jessica Alba. I contacted my local butcher and said, could you guys do something for me? And the guy kept calling me and said, you need to come out. And I said, I'm trying to get a hold of cops in Disney. Could people please help me here? And then I looked up, and there was a SWAT guy with a huge bat with spikes in it, and he started beating the glass out, and he said, Lance, you need to come out. And I said, don't hit me with that thing, and I will. And they're like, just open the door, and I opened it, and I got like 20 high-powered rifles pointed at me. And a guy approached me and said, Lance, you're doing fine. Come here. They put me in handcuffs. And they said, I have the Joker paint on. They said, Lance, what can we call you? And I said, you can call me King Ariel. He said, King Ariel, you're going to be just fine. Okay. They took me to jail. I asked for a speedy trial. Okay. The criminal judge sent me to the mental hospital again. And that's when I gave up on my hometown. Yeah, rather than from the mental hospital, you can discharge to anywhere in Washington, any city you want. I decided not to discharge back to Kennewick this time. It was my 13th time in the mental hospital. I don't want to go back to my city to try to catch the criminal judge anymore. I asked them to discharge me into Olympia, Washington, because it's the capital. And they said, we'll do that for you. And they said, Lance, if you want to be into Olympia, it's going to take like 3 months, but we can get you into Auburn in like 2 weeks. It's right next to Seattle. I said, sure, I'll try Auburn, Washington. I went to Auburn, Washington. I was saving up money to take the train to Orlando, Florida. My parents wanted me to visit them in Hawaii. I did that. And then I took the plane to Orlando, Florida. And now I'm here dealing with a man or woman who is illegally blocking and tampering my Facebook. Yeah, so now you guys understand that I have dealt with SWAT. So I'm kind of laughing at the situation. There's a man or a woman who is in control of illegally blocking my Facebook and tampering with it, and they think they're in control of the situation. But I think they're getting ready to meet SWAT for the first time themselves, because it's either an American human on a power trip, or it's a real high-class criminal. Okay, I could be wrong, but that's just what my mind is telling me right now. But yeah, I'm a good, innocent man. I haven't given up on good people at all. I understand that there's criminals in all companies because I've dealt with some of the worst. The justice system, the medical system, the psychiatric system. I have dealt with some of the worst criminals there is. It took me this long to dawn on myself. Those cops that I dealt with on the beginning of my dealing with the criminal judge, I don't think those 2 cops were actually criminals. They just lost their composure. They're like, yeah, I got this, because I was being a skater and I was cooperating with them perfectly. When I said they smashed my head into the car door. It wasn't a smash, but they didn't have to be that rough. But I understood the whole time, I'm a skater. It's the middle of the night. Maybe I'm not allowed to cross the road. They're just checking to see that I'm not high on drugs. I totally get it. And then I turned around, and I think they just lost their composure. Watch this. Hey, buddy, look at this. Dun, 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 dun. And then I turned around, and he's like, he probably thought to himself, not a funny joke. Okay, so they didn't know how to handle that, because the cops are humans too. A lot of people don't understand that cops are humans. So, it took me this long to say, like you're getting drunk with your friends and, you stand behind them and go, yeah, ha, 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 you're my bitch, and everybody laughs at it. I believe that's what the situation was, but it scared the hell out of me. And because the 2 cops are humans as well, they didn't know how to handle it. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, because they didn't seem like bad guys. You know, and they tried, because they're humans, they tried to handle it the best they can, but the whole thing butterfly affected. But I did end up finding a criminal judge in the situation, and a criminal doctor, and a criminal psychiatrist. And they're dumber than shit, because they're all stuck in the computer system now. Everything they did is in the computer system. If somebody wants to go look it up, it's easy to prosecute all of them. I mean, I read in the Catholic Bible that there was a group of judges that brainwashed an entire city for some good food. When the city found out what actually happened, they wanted them all, the city wanted them to have the death sentence. So I mean, there's this judge who told my own city, yes, Lance, the loved local skater, okay, who is a waiter in a fancy restaurant, he's a mental violent criminal. Okay, once the city understands that Lance was never a mental violent criminal, he is still just a neat local skater who supports policy and law, the city is probably going to want that judge and that doctor and that psychiatrist. They're probably going to want them to have life in prison or the death sentence. Which was another thing. Like, 4 years after all this messed up stuff had happened to me, the mayor of Washington got rid of the death sentence in Washington. He may have heard what had happened to me. They're probably saying, if Lance gets through to this, yeah, I bet I wouldn't be surprised if the mayor of Washington heard of what had happened to Lance. They're saying, you know, if Lance can make a trial happen, it's showing that you guys are going to get the death sentence for what you did to him there. Yeah, the mayor probably told the judge, hey, judge, if Lance gets the trial, okay, it's showing that all of Washington is going to want you to have the death sentence. So the judge probably said, you know what, the mayor probably said, I'm getting rid of the death sentence in Washington because I don't want this judge, okay, to get hung or the lethal injection or the electric chair, okay. Yeah, but either way, he's probably going to get life in prison if everybody wants to prosecute the guy. Again, so this is a real story. So, I mean, I did deal with SWAT. Okay, the man or woman, okay, in control of illegally blocking my Facebook right now. Again, there's 20 options. You know, my mind's saying, is there like a boss of the SWAT team that is illegally blocking my Facebook? Okay. If that's the situation, he still doesn't have the legal right, and he's going to be busted by policy and law too. But I don't believe it's a SWAT team leader. I believe it's just a Facebook employee that has worked himself up in the company. He's very, very wealthy, and he's probably turned around and told Facebook and the government, I have the legal right to do this. And I believe this guy's getting ready to meet SWAT himself, okay? Because no one knows what you're going to do next, okay? You're not blocking my Facebook because it's lawful. You don't want to see me successful in life. You don't want to see me prosecute. You don't want to see me with money. You don't want to see me at all, now do you? But yeah, so my original scary video was 1,000 times more scary than this. So scary that YouTube wouldn't let it upload. Hopefully this one does upload. My request probably won't happen this time. The man or woman who's in control of blocking my Facebook, what I want you to do is turn around and tell Facebook, tell Facebook and the government, hey, go fix Lance's Facebook, transfer Lance all his legal money, and take me to jail. That's what I want you to do, okay? I can't make you do that, so I have to I am in a battle with you, and if you don't want to accept that you are defeated at this point, I have to do something else. And my mind has already set up like 3 different videos. It's smartest for you to tell the Facebook and the government and my country, go fix Lance's Facebook. Transfer Lance's money, take me to jail. That's the smartest thing you can do. Again, and yeah, regarding my hand injury, eventually I found out that I had a hand injury that was causing my entire body pain and sickness. I told a lot of psychiatrists and a lot of judges, I'm not mentally ill. I have a hand injury. I cannot go to trial until my hand surgery is done. And the psychiatrists and psychologists say he's delusional for believing that he has a hand injury that's causing him pain. In Auburn, I used my disability insurance to talk to a Japanese bone doctor, and he said, yes, that I am a bone doctor. That's not a bone, that's a granuloma, and I will remove that for you because I believe it is causing you pain. So he did the surgery, and he showed me pictures, and he said, I really believe it was causing you pain now. Where he showed me the pictures of the surgery, it was rotten under the skin, and the granuloma had turned black. He said, I've never seen that before. I'm happy I got that out for you. You must have been in a lot of pain. Okay, so, I keep telling these judges and these psychiatrists I'm in pain from this injury, and they go, no, you're delusional. Well, and again, if I need to set up prosecution, I could bring my Japanese doctor in, okay, and say, would you please tell the judges and the psychiatrists and the entire country, okay, that my granuloma was causing me pain? He'll say, yes, I did surgery on him. Here's the pictures. It was rotten under his skin. Okay. When he told you that he's in level 8 pain, he wasn't lying. Okay. So yeah, the man or woman who is illegally blocking or tampering my Facebook, okay, I don't care who you are, the head of the SWAT, the head of the FBI, CIA, the police, a doctor, it doesn't matter. You don't have the legal right to do this, okay? And you're in a battle with me right now. If you want to do what's smartest, fix my Facebook right now, send me my paycheck, and go put yourself in jail. Again, this video isn't very scary, but the other one that I made was. So, yeah, I'm still waiting for everybody to contact me. And nobody has. In the other video, I explained that people don't like people don't like messed up stuff, okay? You may say they actually do, but they don't. They're entertained by it, but they don't like it, okay? So I'm telling you, everybody that's entertained by this, okay? The man who is illegally blocking and tampering my stuff, okay, you're the reason this video was made. You're the reason this entertainment was made, and you are going to pay for it, okay? If everybody's proud of you right now, they're proud of you for being a nigger, okay? Yeah, so, yeah, you want some entertainment? Okay. And the country of America is going to make you pay for it, okay? Yeah, because once I get my time in court and I prosecute you, you're going to understand how wrong you were about the situation the entire time. Nobody's listening to me right now, and everybody's listening to you. And that's, when you fall, it's going to be really, really hard, okay? Yeah, you're going to fall so damn hard. Yeah, I can't make everybody stop listening to a nigger. I can't make everybody stop being proud of a nigger. But I can do what I can from where I'm at. Um, yeah, so I'm still waiting for a detective or an agent or a police officer to come knock on my door and say, Lance, are you okay? And this is what we're doing for you. I'm going to get through, okay, to policy and law eventually, okay. Those of you giving false prophecy, okay, are going to find yourself wedged in jail or prison or something worse. Okay, so yeah, it felt good to get all that bullshit out of my head. I wonder if this video will upload. I think YouTube warned me if I make something threatening enough, then they're going to not let me upload videos for one whole week. But yeah, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I never gave up on policy and law. I never gave up on good people. Again, I don't care who you are. If you're a good person and I don't even care if it's best for the country and the family, okay? You don't have the legal right to break policy and law. No one does. No one ever will. And I guess I can touch on, I don't even want to touch on it right now, but I will. 200 years ago, the U.S. Constitution was made saying that all Americans are under policy and law, and no one is allowed to break policy and law. And then in the 70s, in the 1970s, someone passed a law saying that the president can commit any crime that he wants without going to jail. It says all Americans have to follow policy and law except for the president. It says the president can commit any crime that he wants in his 4 years of office, and the only people that can press a charge on him and arrest him are the House of Representatives. They're the only ones that can do it. So, while the president is president for 4 years, he can do any crime he wants, and you can't prosecute him or press charges on him until the 4 years is done. After the 4 years is done, everyone in America has the legal right to prosecute and charge him. But this law got passed saying that the president can go rape children and kill people and do drugs if he wants to. So my mind's saying, what the hell caused that? In the 1970s, there was probably a criminal in the executive branch working with a criminal president, and they just wanted to see crime in America, so he used his smart mind to create a bill that made it so the president could commit a bunch of crimes in America for 4 years. Because there is no logical point in this thing at all. I mean, they tried to, in the thing, they said the logic in making the president be able to commit any crime is if the president commits a crime and we arrest him, then the president can't do his job while he's in jail. It's kind of like, well, no shit, you guys. So that's the point of having the vice president, for starters. Okay, if the president steals a candy bar and he has to go to jail for 2 days, then the vice president is going to be the president for that 2 days. When the president gets out of jail, if we want him as president still, okay, then we will let him do that. But the idea is, yeah, the president is not allowed to break any policy and law. That was the stupidest thing that I've ever read on in politics. Um, wow. Yeah, the whole idea it's the vice president. If the president breaks a law, you put him in jail, and the vice president is now the president. Okay, so when the president comes out of jail, if the House of Representatives and the country still wants him as president, then we allow that. Um, but that's our choice. Um, the president can commit any crime, because if we put him in jail, then he can't do his job. Okay, that was the logic in passing that law. So the executive branch and the legislative branch need to get rid of that law right away. There was something regarding this situation in the Bible. Yeah, there's a president. If the president commits a crime and he's in jail for 5 years, it's the vice president. What happens if the vice president commits a crime and he gets locked up for 5 years? It's whoever's fit. It's whoever's fit to do the job next. I mean, if nobody in politics wants to do it, we can get a mechanic to do it, or a doctor, or a technician. Okay. Anyone can stand up and do it. If the president commits a crime, put him in jail, and it's the next fit person who wants to do it. I mean, the Bible had a verse on this. There was an evil king, and God came in and he put the king in jail. And the people said, well, who's our king now? And God said, God had a 7-year-old sit in the throne, and God put the crown on the 7-year-old. And the point there that God was trying to tell everybody is, look, you guys, this 7-year-old that doesn't know anything, he's a better king than the evil king. He's doing a better job. Okay. And the idea, it's the same effect with the president. You guys ready? Okay. So we have an evil president. If we put him in jail for breaking a crime, if we make a 7-year-old president who doesn't know anything, he's holding the country together better than the evil president. So that law that got passed in the 70s has zero logic. It was just a criminal whoever passed that was just a criminal wasting everybody's time that got the bill to pass somehow. But we need to get rid of that bill here in America. Okay. Everybody has to follow law except for the president. Yeah, he can go out and rape a 3-year-old, and we're not allowed to arrest him. Only the House of Representatives. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I'm a busy person. Finally got some furniture into my apartment. I need to rearrange everything. After that, I'm working on getting this man or woman who's illegally tampering and blocking my my Facebook arrested. I don't even care if you're a good guy. You need to go sit in jail for being that stupid. And I'm not going to feel bad for you. Okay, I'm a good guy who got tortured and framed for 14 years and did nothing but call 911. Okay, and you guys keep sending me to mental hospitals and letting me get tortured and shit. So you're a good guy and you want to break law. Okay. Yep, go sit in jail. I'm not going to feel bad for you. But yeah, so I'm working on getting the man arrested. Hopefully this video does it. If not, I got like 3 more videos lined up. I'm working on a canvas painting that I plan on selling for $5 million. It's going to be one hell of a masterpiece. There's abstract painting and there's representation. I will claim to be the best abstract painter there is on planet Earth. I'm also an autodidact. Autodidact means self-educated. Doctors study 40 hours a week for 8 years. I studied 80 hours a week for 14 years, so I have a 28-year education. Yeah, most medical doctors have an 8-year education. I have a 28-year education. Yeah. Here in America, the Lord and God is policy and law. Do not put policy and law to the test. So hopefully, if this man or woman in control of illegally blocking my Facebook and tampering with my Facebook, if you don't turn around and tell Facebook and the government, go fix his Facebook right now, transfer him his money, and take me to jail, okay? I'm not going to be surprised if you're dealing with a SWAT pretty soon. And I got like 3 more videos coming at you. Okay, they aren't going to be scary, but they're really going to irritate you. Okay, you're in a battle with me now. Again, I never gave up on policy and hope. I never gave up on good people. And I'm not going to give up on policy and law. I don't care if you're good, bad, or evil. If you break law, I'm going to send you to jail. I fight for policy and law, and I live for love. Love is not something you have to fight for. Some people don't fight at all. Me, I fight for policy and law. Okay, if you want to get into a fight with me, okay, I'm fighting for policy and law. Trying to wrap up this video. I think that'll do it. I need to get my day started.